Alright, I'm going to lay this all out for you, and I need to warn you up front. It's a lot. Have you ever had someone you thought you knew, someone older, someone who's supposed to have their life together, say something that just flips everything you thought you understood? One sentence, one quiet moment, and suddenly you're questioning your own judgment, your choices, even who you are deep down. That's exactly what happened to me in the summer of 2025. My best friend's stepmom, a woman pushing 50, leaned in close one day and whispered, "We should keep this between us." Those words hit me like a punch to the gut. And what unfolded after that was a chain of events I never could have predicted. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, and I'm not sure I ever will. Let me walk you through it step by step because I'm still wrestling with whether I handled it the right way. My name's Ethan Carter. I'm 22, just a regular guy from Seattle trying to navigate that messy post-college phase where you're supposed to have it all figured out, but definitely don't. I graduated last year with a degree in environmental science from the University of Washington, but the job market's been brutal. I've been sending out applications to environmental consulting firms, nonprofits, even government agencies, but it's been nothing but rejection emails or straight-up silence. So, for now, I'm stuck working part-time at a coffee shop in Capitol Hill, pulling espresso shots, and dealing with cranky customers who can't decide between oat milk and almond milk. It's not glamorous, but it pays the rent on my tiny studio apartment. My best friend Jake Thompson has been my lifeline through all this. We've been tight since we were 16. Back when we'd sneak into concerts at the Show Box or stay up all night playing Call of Duty, fueled by energy drinks and bad decisions. Jake's the kind of friend who'd drop everything to help you move or talk you through a rough day. He's loyal, funny, and just gets me in a way most people don't. His family's been like my second family for years. His dad, Mark, is this laid-back guy who runs a small construction business. He's the type who's always got a dad joke ready and a cold beer to share. Jake's mom passed away when he was a kid, and about 5 years ago, Mark remarried. That's when Lisa came into the picture. Lisa's 49, but you wouldn't know it by looking at her. She's one of those people who seems to defy time. Fit, stylish, always dressed like she's about to close $1 million deal. She's a real estate agent, drives a sleek white Tesla Model S, and has this aura of confidence that makes you feel like she's always one step ahead of everyone else. I always thought she was cool, you know? Not like a mom figure, but more like that aunt who's got wild stories from her 20s and always seems to know the right thing to say. She's been good to Jake, too. Even though she's not his biological mom, they've got a solid relationship, and she's been part of the family long enough that I never thought twice about her. She was just Lisa until this summer. It all started in early June 2025. Jake invited me over to his dad's place for a barbecue. It was one of those rare perfect Seattle days. Sunny mid-70s, the kind of weather that makes you forget about the 9 months of gray drizzle we usually get. Mark and Lisa live in this nice house in Ballard, a neighborhood with trendy breweries and waterfront views. Their place has a big backyard, a deck with string lights, and on clear days, you can see the Puget Sound sparkling in the distance. I showed up around noon wearing my usual jeans and a faded tish, carrying a 6-pack of Fremont Brewing IPA as my contribution to the party. Jake met me at the door, already a little tipsy with that classic grin of his. "Yo, Ethan, you're late, man. Dad's already torching the burgers." I laughed and followed him through the house to the backyard where Mark was stationed at the grill, flipping patties with this intense focus, like he was performing surgery. He looked up and gave me a nod. "Ethan, good to see you, kid. Grab a beer and make yourself at home." Lisa was there, too, setting out plates and chatting with a couple of neighbors who'd wandered over. She was wearing a flowy sundress, her hair pulled back in a loose bun, and when she saw me, she flashed a warm smile. "Ethan, good to see you. You're looking more like a grown man every time I see you," she said, her tone light and playful, maybe even a little teasing. I just chuckled, thanked her, and grabbed a beer from the cooler, settling into one of the lawn chairs. The barbecue was exactly what you'd expect. Low-key fun with music playing from a Bluetooth speaker, and the smell of grilled meat and charcoal filling the air. Jake and I caught up about his new job at a tech startup downtown. He was stoked about it, talking about coding and stock options like he'd already made it big. We made plans to hit up a hiking trail in the Cascades the next weekend. Something we'd been doing since we were kids. Lisa was in her element, floating around the party, playing the perfect host. She'd refill drinks, check on the food, and make sure everyone was having a good time. At one point, she sat down next to me and asked about my job search. I told her it was rough, that I'd applied to dozens of environmental consulting firms, but kept getting ghosted or form letter rejections. She listened, nodding thoughtfully, and then suggested I consider real estate. It's a people business, she said. You're good with people, Ethan. You'd be a natural. I brushed it off, laughing. Nah, Lisa, I'm not cut out for sales. I'd probably trip over my own words trying to sell a house. She gave me this look, though, like she saw something in me I didn't see in myself. It was intense, almost like she was sizing me up. It made me a little uncomfortable, but I didn't dwell on it. I figured she was just being encouraging, maybe trying to help me out of my post-college rut. As the afternoon wore on, the crowd started to thin out. The neighbors headed home, and Jake and Mark were busy cleaning up the grill, wiping it down, and tossing empty cans into a recycling bin. I offered to help Lisa bring some dishes inside, mostly because I didn't want to seem lazy. She waved me off at first, saying she had it covered, but I insisted, grabbing a stack of plates and following her into the kitchen. The house was quiet inside, the noise from the backyard muffled by the walls. We set the plates on the counter, and she started rinsing them in the sink, the water running softly. I stood there feeling a little out of place, not sure if I should head back outside or keep helping. I was about to say something generic like, "Thanks for having me," when she turned to me, drying her hands on a dish towel. "You know, Ethan," she said, her voice calm but deliberate. "You've got a good head on your shoulders. You just need someone to point you in the right direction." I shrugged, not really sure where she was going with this. "Thanks, Lisa. I'm just trying to figure it all out. You know, it's a weird time." She stepped closer. Close enough that I could smell the faint citrus of her perfume. Her voice dropped just a little, but it was enough to make the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. "You're young, but you're not a kid anymore. You've got potential. I see it. I could help you if you'd let me." I didn't know what to say. Her tone wasn't exactly flirty, but it wasn't just friendly either. It was intense, like she was trying to communicate something without spelling it out. I mumbled something about appreciating the advice, my brain scrambling for a way to exit the conversation without being rude. I started to turn toward the door, but she reached out and grabbed my arm. Lightly, not aggressive, just enough to stop me in my tracks. "Ethan," she said, her eyes locking onto mine. "I mean it. I could open some doors for you, but we need to keep it between us." My stomach dropped like I just missed a step going downstairs. I didn't know what she was talking about. Not exactly, but the way she said it, the way her eyes didn't waver, it wasn't just about real estate or job connections. There was something else there, something heavy and unspoken that made my skin crawl. I pulled my arm back, trying to laugh it off to break the tension. Yeah, sure, Lisa. I'll let you know if I need to talk real estate or whatever." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. It was a tight, calculated smile, like she knew I was dodging her, but wasn't going to push it. "Good," she said. "Just think about it." I bolted back outside, my heart racing. Jake was still out there joking with his dad about some football game. And I tried to act normal, grabbing another beer, and forcing myself to laugh at their banter. But my mind was spinning. What the hell just happened? Was she hitting on me, offering me a job, something else entirely? I couldn't pin it down, but I knew it didn't feel right. I felt like I'd just stepped into something I wasn't equipped to handle, like I'd wandered into a game where I didn't know the rules. For the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about it. That moment in the kitchen played on a loop in my head, her hand on my arm, her voice low and secretive. Those words. We should keep it between us. I didn't tell Jake. How do you even bring something like that up? Hey man. I think your stepmom might have propositioned me. Yeah, that wasn't happening. Jake and I had been through a lot together, but this felt like a grenade I couldn't just toss into our friendship, so I kept it to myself, but it was eating me up. I started overanalyzing everything. Every time my phone buzzed, I half expected it to be her. I'd replay the conversation, trying to figure out if I'd misread it, if maybe she was just being overly friendly and I was making it weird. Then a couple days later, I got a text from her. It was short, casual, but it made my blood run cold. Hey Ethan. Still thinking about our chat. Let me know if you want to meet up and talk opportunities. I stared at my phone for a good 10 minutes, trying to decide what to do. Opportunities, that word again. It sounded so innocent, but after that moment in the kitchen, it felt loaded, like a code I wasn't supposed to crack. I didn't respond. I couldn't. But the next day, she called me, leaving a voicemail that sounded way too relaxed, like she was trying to play it cool. Hey Ethan, just checking in. Let me know when you're free to chat. I didn't call her back. I didn't know what to say. And honestly, I was scared. Part of me was curious. What was she offering? A job, a connection, something more. But the bigger part of me, the part that wasn't an idiot, was screaming that this was a bad idea. She was Jake's stepmom. She was married to Mark. She was twice my age. Whatever she was hinting at, it wasn't just a friendly offer to help me get my career on track. It felt wrong, like crossing a line I didn't even want to get near. A week later, Jake invited me to hang out at his place again. I almost said no. I thought about making up an excuse. Work, a family thing, anything to avoid going back to that house. But I didn't want to raise red flags. Jake's my best friend, and if I started acting weird, he'd know something was up. So I went, telling myself I'd just avoid Lisa, keep my distance, and get through it. When I got there, she was home, and she acted like nothing had happened. She was all smiles, offering me a soda, asking about my week like we were just casual acquaintances. But I caught her looking at me a couple times, and it wasn't the warm, friendly glance I'd gotten used to over the years. It was like she was waiting for me to say something, to acknowledge whatever it was she'd started in the kitchen that day. I kept my answers short, stuck close to Jake, and got out of there as soon as I could. Things started escalating after that. One night, I was out with Jake at a bar in Fremont, just shooting the breeze over some beers. Out of nowhere, he brought up Lisa. Yo, my stepmom's been asking about you, he said, laughing like it was no big deal. She thinks you're like super smart or something. Keeps saying you should get into real estate with her. I don't know, man. She's weirdly obsessed with you. My heart sank into my stomach. I tried to play it off, forcing a laugh. Yeah, right. Me, a realtor. I'd be terrible at it. But inside I was freaking out. Was she trying to pull me into something through Jake? Was she using him to get to me? Or was I just paranoid, reading way too much into it? I couldn't tell anymore. I kept going back to that moment in the kitchen. The way she grabbed my arm, the way she said, "We should keep this between us." It wasn't just in my head. I knew that now. But I still didn't know what to do about it. By mid-July, I was doing everything I could to avoid Jake's house without making it obvious. I'd make excuses, extra shifts at the coffee shop, visiting my parents, even claiming I was swamped with job applications, which wasn't entirely a lie. But Lisa wasn't letting up. She sent me another text, this time more direct. Ethan, I know you're busy, but I really think we could help each other out. Meet me for coffee, my treat. I stared at that text for a long time, my thumb hovering over the reply button. I didn't respond, but I didn't delete it either. I saved it just in case. In case of what? I wasn't sure. Maybe I just needed proof that this was happening, that I wasn't losing my mind. Then came the night that changed everything. It was late July and Jake was throwing a small party at his dad's place while Mark was out of town for a work conference. I didn't want to go. Every fiber of my being was telling me to stay away, but Jake kept pushing, saying it wouldn't be the same without me. Come on, man. It's just a few people. Don't leave me hanging, he said. So I caved, figuring I could keep my distance from Lisa, stick to the group, and leave early. The party was small, maybe a dozen people, some of Jake's coworkers, a couple friends from high school. Nothing crazy. There was music, a cooler full of drinks, and a spread of snacks on the kitchen counter. Lisa was there, of course, playing the cool stepmom, laughing with Jake's friends, and passing out chips and dip. I stayed on the opposite side of the room, hanging out with Jake and a couple other guys, keeping my head down. By midnight, the party was winding down. Most people had left, and Jake was passed out on the couch, snoring loudly after one too many beers. I was ready to bounce, so I grabbed my jacket from the coat rack in the hallway. That's when Lisa appeared like she'd been waiting for her chance. Leaving already? She asked, her voice low, almost teasing. Yeah, it's late, I said, keeping my tone short and my eyes on the door. I didn't want to be alone with her. Not after everything. She stepped closer, close enough that I could smell her perfume again. That same citrusy scent that was starting to make me nauseous. Ethan, I've been trying to talk to you for weeks. You're avoiding me. I froze, my hand still on my jacket. What was I supposed to say? Deny it? Tell her the truth. I settled for something vague. I've just been busy. I mumbled, avoiding her gaze. She tilted her head, studying me like I was a puzzle she was trying to solve. You don't have to be scared. You know I'm not going to bite. She smiled then, but it wasn't the warm, friendly smile I'd known for years. It was knowing like she had a secret, and was daring me to ask about it. I meant what I said before. She continued, I could help you a lot, but we need to be discreet. My mouth went dry. My heart was pounding so hard I thought she could probably hear it. Elisa, I don't know what you're talking about, I said, but my voice sounded weak, unconvincing even to myself. She reached out and touched my arm again, just like she had in the kitchen, but this time her grip was firmer, more deliberate. You're smart, Ethan. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you're not interested, that's fine. Just don't say anything to Jake or Mark. This stays between us. I yanked my arm away, my pulse racing. I got to go, I said, and I didn't wait for her to respond. I practically ran out of the house, my jacket half on, my keys jingling in my hand. I didn't stop until I was in my car, driving back to my apartment with my hands shaking on the steering wheel. What the hell was happening? Was she trying to sleep with me, bribe me, use me for something else entirely? I didn't know, but I knew I couldn't keep pretending this wasn't real. The next day, I did something I never thought I'd do. I told Jake. Not everything. Not right away, but enough to get it off my chest. I asked him to meet me at a coffee shop in Capitol Hill, one of those hipster places with overpriced lattes and too many plants. We sat down at a corner table and I just blurted it out. Man, I need to talk to you about something weird. It's about Lisa. His face changed immediately, like he could sense the weight of what I was about to say. I told him about the barbecue, the moment in the kitchen, the texts, the voicemail, the party. I didn't spell out exactly what I thought she was implying. I couldn't bring myself to say it, but Jake's not stupid. He got the gist. He didn't say anything for a long time. Just stared at his coffee, stirring it absent-mindedly. Finally, he spoke, his voice low. That's messed up, Ethan. I don't even know what to say. I could tell he didn't want to believe it. Lisa was his stepmom, part of his family, someone he trusted for years, but he didn't call me a liar either, which was a relief. He said he'd talked to her, tried to figure out what was going on. I begged him not to mention my name to keep me out of it, but he just shook his head and said, I'm not letting this slide. I didn't hear much from him for the next week, and I didn't push. I figured he needed time to process, to deal with whatever he was going to do. Then one day, he texted me to meet up again. We grabbed beers at a dive bar and he told me Lisa was moving out. Apparently, she and Mark had been having problems for a while. And this wasn't the first time she'd done something off, as he put it. He didn't go into details, and I didn't ask. I was just glad it was over, or at least I thought it was. A couple weeks later, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't pick up, but curiosity got the better of me. It was Lisa. Her voice was calm, almost eerily so, like she was talking about the weather. "Ethan," she said, "I'm not mad at you, but you should have kept your mouth shut. Things could have been different." I didn't say anything. I just hung up and blocked the number. That was the last I heard from her, but it stayed with me. I still don't know what she wanted. Whether it was just a fling or if there was something bigger, something more calculated going on. Was she trying to pull me into some kind of scheme? Was she just bored, looking for a thrill? I'll probably never know. And maybe that's for the best. Jake and I are still friends, but things aren't the same. There's this weird tension between us now. Like we both know something we can and know. We don't talk about Lisa, and I haven't been back to his dad's house since. I keep wondering if I should have handled it differently. Maybe I should have confronted her that first day in the kitchen, called her out right then and there. Maybe I should have told Mark instead of Jake. Or maybe I should have just cut contact and walked away. But I was 22, stuck in that awkward space between being a kid and an adult. And I didn't know how to navigate something like this. I'm still not sure I did the right thing, but I know I couldn't stay quiet. That's my story. It's not some Hollywood drama, not a scripted thriller. It's just something that happened to me, something that's still messing with my head months later. If you've ever been in a situation like this where someone you thought you knew crossed a line and left you questioning everything, I'd love to hear about it. Because even now, I'm still trying to make sense of what happened.